I just want to be upfront and say that I do not condone violence, it is not funny, and it is not something we should be laughing at. But in saying that, I've also never laughed as hard as I did in the cinema as when I watched the end scene of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
You are real, right?
I'm as real as a donut, motherfucker.
So I don't remember when exactly the trend started, but I'm sure you'll know exactly what I mean when I say the term Marvel humor. It's a one-liner often delivered at a dramatic moment that kind of undercuts all the tension in the scene. This plague of bad humor undercutting tension seems to have spread all across Disney movies. It can be funny at times, but more often than not, it's cringe. Like, really cringe. And honestly, I didn't really mind it at first. I even found some to be quite funny until, well, this scene.
The old man gave it to you.
It's just very hard to understand you with all the...
Search him.
An intense, epic, menacing entrance of our main villain completely ruined for a cheap laugh. I mean, he just killed someone. He just throws a fucking laser midair and the first thing you say is that? Like, really? I would be shitting myself. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for him to say something like that at the very moment. Like, it's too much of a wink at the audience, if you know what I mean. The contrast in tones completely breaks the magic of cinema and just pulls you out. Here's another example.
Okay, I'll hold.
Hello?
Hello? Yep, I'm still here.
Like, why? Just why? It's so bad and dumb. What is it that makes it so, well, cringe? Is it the contrast in tones? Or the unexpectedness? After watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and laughing hysterically at the extreme violence, I realized it also had a character delivering a line that's very contrasting in tone to the situation.
And I'm here to do the devil's business.
No, I was dumber than that. Something like Rex.
Shoot 'em, Tex!
Tex.
But it works. In fact, a lot of humor in movies actually come from that contrast in tone, where we have a serious situation with a non-serious character or a character that does not realize the severity of the situation. So how come this works and this doesn't? I think there are two key factors that makes the final scene of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood so funny. Setups and callbacks. First, let's talk about setup. In order for a character to say something that acts as a punchline to a joke, I believe it has to be well motivated and set up by what the character is like. In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, despite the serious situation, it makes sense for Cliff Booth to act this way because we know he's high on acid. And we as the audience find this scene funny because we know how tense and serious the situation is, and we know how Cliff should be acting, but instead we're given something very contrasting. Same with the bit when the hippie smashes through the windows and scares the shit out of Rick Dalton. There was a setup to this joke because we know Rick has been sitting in the pool listening to music with his headphones on, so it makes sense for him to not hear all the chaos and the craze that was going on in the house. So when he gets freaked out, the contrast of this peace and chaos makes the scene very funny. On the other hand, in Force Awakens, Paul as a character was not set up to be witty and to be not serious in a serious situation. I mean, he was sent on a mission, he tried to run, failed, tried to fight back, failed again, and he got caught. At this point, his mentality should be extremely nervous at best and completely shitting himself at worst, since he could be killed at any moment like the old man 5 minutes ago. So it doesn't make sense for him to bust out a witty line like that. I mean, honestly, it's not even that witty. And what he said doesn't add to the situation at all. It's not gonna aid him in escaping. If anything, it would just make Kylo Ren more angry, makes it more likely for Paul to get killed. It just makes no sense. The line was obviously delivered as a comic relief to relieve the tension of the moment, which I think is a shame. It's not a well set up joke that is actually funny or suit the situation. Let's talk about the ideas of callbacks. This technique is actually used by a lot of comedians where they will refer back to a joke they told early in the set, creating a laugh. It is also found to be more effective the longer it is held back, as the audience will be more surprised when the callback is made. The idea behind this principle is actually extremely simple. It's basically to create a sense of familiarity, establish rapport with your audience, so when the callback is made, it almost feels like an in-joke. Only those who heard the first joke will get it. Now, Tarantino does a brilliant job using this technique in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. When Cliff was feeding his dog while on acid, well, remember this?
Toby, one full of love.
when the hippies show up at the house at the end of the movie and faces off Cliff. Oh yeah, remember this? And when Rick runs to the storage room and take out the flamethrower, yes of course, remember this.
Anybody order fried sauerkraut?
I know this video is a bit everywhere. I kind of just wanted to share my thoughts on the end scene of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I really found it to be funny, and it kind of just reminded me of all these Marvel humor nowadays.
Of course. Of course. Of course.
But honestly, it isn't all bad. There are jokes that genuinely worked and made me laugh. For example, this scene in Infinity War.
I am Groot.
I am Steve Rogers.
This genuinely made me laugh because, well, it works. The response Captain America gave was very consistent with his character, and we as the audience know that he's someone who's very serious and sincere. So in a way, it was kind of set up. And thus, when he maintains his sincerity in this contrasting situation, it's very funny. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys learned something. I don't claim to know anything about comedy. I did have to do my research along the way as well. I'm kind of just sharing my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below if you guys found that scene funny. Thumbs up if you liked the video, and subs if you haven't already. And enjoy your movies.